Well, hey everybody, John Redlin here, and this is every Randy Savage WrestleMania match ranked from worst to best. And a big thank you to Jen for suggesting that I do one about Randy Savage, because looking back on, I'm like, hey, wait a second, one of my favorite superstars of all time, one of the reasons that I stuck around in wrestling from pretty much first moment I saw him on WWF TV, he is somebody that I felt could have carried the company for, besides Hogan. I felt he could have been champion for a lot longer. Don't worry, I'll get to that. But looking at his entire WrestleMania run from 2 to 10, he wrestled in 11 matches, including multiple matches at one particular Mania. So, why not do this list? And why not look back at some of the best and also some of the worst stuff that he was involved in? I really hate how he was taken from us so goddamn soon, though. I just absolutely hate it. I wish he was still here with us. He gave so much to the fans and provided so many classic matches. Let's just revisit them right now. But let's start off with the stuff that's unfortunately not that good. Like number 11, Randy Savage versus George Animal Steel at Mania 2. George was going after Elizabeth. George was a babyface at this point. Stalking women, what a babyface thing to do. Yeah, not very good. Randy retained. It was kind of a limp match. Mania 2 wasn't all that good. Randy was just like a month into his Intercontinental title reign that he would actually hold till the following Mania. Don't worry, I'll get to that one later. Number 10, Randy Savage versus the One Man Gang at Mania 4. One of the 4 matches that Randy Savage had at that, famed Mania, famed, infamous, whatever you want to call it. Randy would eventually become the champion, and this was the match that would lead him into the finals because One Man Gang would get disqualified, but yeah, they could have had a better match than this. But again, Randy was wrestling 4 times, and even though a lot of the matches were short, the idea was okay. Randy won, was Randy too beat up and everything, and One Man Gang used Slick's cane to kind of cause a DQ, and it was what it was. Randy won, though, and he moved on to the finals. Number 9, Randy Savage versus Butch Reed at Mania 4. Yeah, to open up, Randy Savage's run in the tournament, he beat Butch Reed, and Butch pretty much vanished from WWF TV after this. He went to the NWA, eventually would team with Ron Simmons as part of Doom, and be a hell of a tag team, and that was pretty much the end of his full-time run. Yep, Randy won and moved on into the second round. And then we go Randy Savage versus Greg Valentine in Mania 4 in the number 8 spot. Yeah, this originally was supposed to be Steamboat facing Randy, which would have, been absolutely great and would have been a great way to, oh God, they're gonna, replicate their Mania 3 match. Probably not, but they were going to be able to, be on that big stage again. Well, I'm guessing Hogan must have played some kind of politics because Steamboat lost to Greg Valentine. And instead of a shoo-in match of the night between Steamboat and Savage, no, we got this match, which wasn't bad. I mean, fortunately, Randy at least won, because Greg Valentine sure as fuck didn't deserve to be there. But yeah, not very good. And then we get to number 7, Randy Savage and Queen Sherry versus Dusty Rhodes and Sapphire, Sweet Sapphire, as Dusty called her, at Mania 6. Elizabeth was brought down to the ring to be in Dusty and Sapphire's corner. It was what it was. It was a mixed tag match. The only appearance in a match for Dusty at WrestleMania. Kind of sad. And definitely a step down from what, Savage had done the previous Mania when he faced Hogan in the main event. And definitely a step down from what he would do the previous, or, to the next Mania at Mania 7. It was what it was. It was a fun match. It was a comedy match. I felt bad for Randy. I felt bad for Sherry. It's not that Sapphire didn't try, but she wasn't much of a wrestler. But it was what it was. It put a smile on everybody's face, I guess. I didn't necessarily like it, but it was better than the previous matches I mentioned. And then we get to number 6, Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase at Mania 4 in the finals for the to crown a new WWF champion. And besides Hogan getting involved, because Hogan had to always get involved and hog Randy's spotlight, yes, he was there to neutralize Andre. But then Ted DiBiase had Randy Savage in the $1 Million Dream, and Hogan hits him with a chair while the referee's distracted. And then Randy hits the elbow drop, and then Hogan celebrates with him like Hogan actually was the one that won, Randy the championship. It was so stupid. Randy should have just done it on his own. I mean, Hogan could have been there ringside to neutralize Andre, but just doing that, I hated it. I know why they did it, because they built to a story at the next Mania, but I hated it because Randy should have been the sole champion, the one to carry the banner for the company for a couple years, and he wasn't, only for a year, and he could have carried that company. It still bothers me to this day, but hey, at least Randy got to close Mania as champion. Rightfully so after that classic match he had at the previous one. And then we get to number 5, Randy Savage versus Crush at Mania 10. Falls count anywhere match. Basically, you pin your opponent anywhere in the arena, and they have 60 seconds to get back to the ring. Weird, but it was different than you would expect. It's kind of a sad, end to Savage's Mania run, because it was the last match he would have on a WWF pay-per-view. I don't believe he competed at the King of the Ring, if I recall correctly. I know he did not compete at SummerSlam, and he was gone before Survivor Series 94 happened. It was a good match, don't get me wrong. It was different. I will give him that much credit. And Savage stringing Crush up and, hanging him up there and then getting back into the ring just before the count of 60 was fine. But it was almost like a little sad. The only reason I ranked this a little bit higher is because it was Savage's last match, and while him beating Ted DiBiase was great, he had a couple other title matches I felt were just quite a bit better. Now we go to number 4, Randy versus Hogan at Mania 5. Now, you could argue work rate-wise that maybe this should be number 2. The reason I'm ranking this a bit lower is because Hogan had to be the one to beat Randy, even though Randy could have retained and held it till SummerSlam 89. I covered that stuff before, but this was a terrific match. Randy got the best out of Hogan, really worked hard, and did damn well. I just wish that Randy had retained. That's my only complaint about this match. And I did a review of Mania 5 and Clash of Champions 6, since they took place on the same day, and be a video, or be a playlist of that at the end of this video. But that's the only thing that bothers me. But still, it's a very, very good match. Randy did hold the title for just over a year. I just wish he had held it longer. But then we get to some stuff, a couple that I've talked about before, but, this one, maybe flesh out a little bit. Number 3, Randy Savage versus Ric Flair at Mania 8. I love this one. This should have main evented because 1, it was for the title. 2, you didn't need Hogan and Sid in the main event. And 3, I bought into the story way more than Hogan and Sid. And sure, the Savage Flair stuff was ridiculous and everything, and the whole Photoshop thing, like obviously Miss Elizabeth, that is, easy for me to say that name, not, cheating on Randy with Rick or that kind of stuff, being all tabloid crazy and whatever, drove Randy insane. It is kind of sad, though, that Elizabeth and Randy would divorce soon after this. Well, they were separated and then divorced soon after this. Apparently, they still remain close, which is good. And hopefully reunited high above once Randy passed away, tragically. But this was a really, really well done, great, bloody, personal match. Sure, Flair got fined for blading and stuff like that, but this was the definition of a main event, and it was the first time the WWF champion had not been in the main event. The championship or, the champion being, defending the title had not been in the main event. And gee, who was involved in every single one of those matches? It was Hogan. So Hogan, once again, playing politics and taking that. Sure, it might have been Hogan's last match of Mania 8, but I'm sorry, Savage versus Flair should have main evented. But it's still a very, very good match. And then we get to number 2, Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior at Mania 7, a retirement match. I'm going to say that I wish that Randy had won in retrospect. I know why he didn't. Randy actually legit wanted to retire. He legit wanted to retire. He wanted to do commentary, this kind of stuff, whatever, apparently. And then once he got back in the ring, he got that itch again, which makes sense. But, so he put over Warrior like crazy. He had like 5 elbow drops. There was some great personal stuff between, the commentary between Gorilla and Heenan was great. You had Miss Elizabeth in the crowd. I really just need to say Liz because apparently I'm having issues because of still getting over the flu saying Elizabeth. So anyway, or maybe I'm just turning into Dusty. No one could turn into Dusty. Ah, bless his soul. So great stuff though with Liz at ringside and Sherry, Queen Sherry there, and Yes, Warrior finally beat Savage, putting the foot on his chest though and paying him. So disrespectful. I'm not saying that Savage didn't say it was okay. I'm sure he did, but just it was so disrespectful to me. It was such a slap in the face. And Warrior was a slap in the face of the wrestling business. But anyway, you then get Sherry just, just berating Savage and everything. And I'm going to try not to get emotional about this, but Liz just runs out of the ring, hurls Sherry outside. Savage almost ends up hitting her, but, they have this reuniting. And I don't know if they were plants in the crowd that were crying or if it was legit people that were crying. Because, wrestling can be emotional. And they finally reunited, and it was a big emotional moment. And if you did not get emotional during it, I really don't know what to say. You probably don't have a pulse, because it was really goddamn good. And it was great to see them, reunite and stuff like that. So yes, Savage lost his career, but he got his woman back, and he saw the light. And then he would come back to the ring about 8 months later, but that's okay. It was still really good stuff, and it was a very good match. It was the best match a Warrior ever had, besides maybe against Hogan. Not that Warrior was ever capable of having a good match on his own. He had to have somebody carry him, but yeah, it was a very good match. And then we're going to go to number 1, which is clearly, come on, guys. It's Savage versus Steamboat at Mania 3 for the Intercontinental title. What else was it going to be? What else? It had to be this. Second best match or best match of WrestleMania of all time. A lot of people could argue, till the day they pass away. They could argue till they're blue in the face, whatever. This is one of the greatest matches ever. It really just is. The meticulous planning that Savage did and all this stuff, and just how brilliantly done it was, and how so different it was from so many other matches that WWF had put on at that point. It was just so wonderful. It was so great, and Steamboat gained the victory over Savage. It's one of my favorite matches. I'm probably going to go watch it right after I record this. But seriously, it was just so great. What else can I say about it? So I'm just going to end that right there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I will see you soon.